Oh, dear.
I hope nditolika kakuhle ayishem oko bendinimute ngoko bendinamkela ndisithi thank you so much for joining us ndisithi ke nizawuchola nto nakanjani xolweni Facebook sifumene mani kaloku kufuneka sibe kanti ke on mute xa ndidlala ingoma otherwise singazibona sesingxakini ikhona into ye-copyrights etheni esibhudisileyo last week kodwa akakho nto sesilapha kufundwa ngolo hlobo sakhe sijonge ke ngokuba uLihle kaNcoyi Lihle King Ncoyi usiphathele ntoni na namhlanje. Good morning Lihle.
Good morning, moms. How's it going?
Okay, andikuva mna ngoku ndizawucela uPhiwe. Phiwe is in the building. Seyincedile ke abe khona kwenzela into yobana azondincedisa nje kweli cala. Masikhangele ivenkile ndizoqiniseka into yoba uyavakala because andikuva mna apha ezindlebeni, mhlawumbi kufuneka sinyuse kweli cala sizokwazi ke ukuba ndiyakuva kodwa ndiye ndibe sure uba abaphulaphuli bayakuva bona. So apha ezindlebeni kufuneka kaloku akufuneka ndiphoswe nakufuneka ndibe yinxalenye, kufuneka ndibe yi-part yayo. So uPhiwe ke uyandizama ngaphaya khe ndingaxhalazi ndedwa kodwa nto yam yokuxovela ndizibhatye ndivele ndithi uyavakala abaphulaphulini great. Ndim lo ungavakaliyo yini ayisoze hayi ke ngayifilini. Yes, ingathi uyeza kancinci, ngathi uyayichana umam siduko sakhe yho umam Thembi. Thank you Phiwe, ingathi uyeza kancinci Lihle. Kasabele Lihle. Yes, we've got it. Yeah. Ubesasela amanzi. Yes, ebesasela amanzi. So ndiyavuya ke xa ndikwazi ukuva ngoku abaphulaphuli bebekuva bona sebesitsho sisibuyola mpepho uthi uyavakala kuthi uLihle uSodo Mququ killing esiradio. Yes, ayishishize uAzola ayizomevana uthanda ngowavisha nam ndiyawavisha ndithi hi Azola, hi Azo. All right, it's 8:08 masingalibaziske because lo bhuti uyaprepare uyaqula ligangathe ukwenzela uba azokwazi ukuba abe kanti ulapha noKhatha. Khatha, where have you been? Yazi ngomnye nje olahlekayo bedukile uKhatha Mulala umphulaphuli wam waseLimpopo. Khatha, Vovahani, where have you been? Dimacheloni. Lihle, over to you.
Wow. Awesome. Once again, good morning to all the listeners of the Keep Guest Radio Station and the social crossover. Today, I am so excited. Today, in fact, I'm going to be talking about something that I learned this week. So it's interesting that so this week I was invited into a very interesting Zoom meeting whereby we were being invited by investors from Dubai, right?
Okay.
These guys wanted to ask us to invest in Dubai or to pitch us to invest in Dubai. Now, I'm the kind of person who likes studying business models, right? I'm not a fan of just being a participant and hear what I'm being told. I always want to understand the thinking behind everything. The thinking behind everybody else, behind the people who are presenting this thing to me, right? So after I listened, it was about a 45 minutes to 1 hour meeting. And within the first 20 to 30 minutes, I learned how Dubai was built without being told.
Okay.
Just by listening to this guy pitch, I understood that Dubai isn't just a city or isn't just a fancy city, but it's a business.
Okay.
And that's how the city is being run, as a business. Now, when I took this, I listened to it and I looked at how they are applying the same principles that I was taught at a very large scale when it comes to property and development. What is the reason that makes people really go to Dubai? It's the developments, the properties, right?
Okay.
The beauty of Dubai, right? And that meeting made me learn so many things that made me realize that there's more in terms of, you know, dreaming. There's more in terms of having a vision, right? And in terms of how you can be able to put whatever it is that you want in life into application, right? So today we'll be talking about basically how to apply the Dubai business model into your property business. How to apply the Dubai business model into your property business. Now, after I listened to the presentation, I put it upon myself not to sleep that night. And I researched about Dubai, went on Google, read some stories, read a bit of some books, and I learned that the vision we are seeing today is the vision of a 71-year-old man.
Okay.
Right. And when I thought about that this person did not just think about just building a big city, right? I mean, turning a desert into becoming one of the most visited places in the world, right? And the name of this guy is Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. You have no idea how many times I practiced that word this week.
To pronounce, just the pronunciation.
Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And this guy, his vision is so big, such that when he once said that he is building a city whereby the rest of the world, the whole world, will want to come and reside. A city whereby the whole world will want to come and spend their money on. Right. And the thing is, he applied the very same principle that I always say to people, that everything you aspire to have in life, when you have a vision, everything you aspire to have that vision has very little to do with I. And I'll explain what I mean to say I, as in I don't have resources, I don't have the money, I can't qualify. You know, one of the biggest reasons that people use as reasons or as excuses for not getting into property, it's always I can't afford, I don't have the credit score, I have a bad credit rating, I am blacklisted, I don't have a pay slip, you know, it's all of these things. I don't have a 3 months bank statement. It's all I, and less to do with people learning how to ask. Right? So then I always say to people that the reason why you are not earning your worth is because you don't know how to ask for your worth. Right? So this guy has this very big vision that people around the world will leave their cities and this will become one of the most visited, if not the most visited city in the world. Right? And then the second thing he sought out, he then deployed visionaries or people who caught his vision into very important departments. Right? So he got ambassadors who would go around countries pitching investors, searching for investors, looking at people who are active in the property space to say, guys, come and invest in Dubai. Come and invest in Dubai. Now, the person whom I was listening to, now, the funny thing is, last year, I was invited into a similar meeting, and I went and I listened, and I was like, this is interesting. But when I was invited last year, I guess maybe I was not woke. Maybe I just heard that, wow, Dubai, investing in Dubai. But this time I listened with a different ear, an ear that wanted to understand the business model. How did this guy build Dubai in such a short space of time and make it to become such a great city as it is now, right? So now he employed what I usually call some forms of leverage. And one of the most important forms of leverage that he employed is other people's money, right? Other people's money. You find out whenever we talk about property, people are always fascinated by OPM, other people's money, and realize they don't really understand what other people's money is. When you say other people's money to them, it's more like a thing of it's the bank's money. Yes, of course, it's the bank's money. But you also want to think a bit deeper than just looking at the bank. There's many ways of financing a property, right? There's many ways of getting or raising capital to finance even your business, right? Because remember what I said, everything you want in life is either in the intellectual property of someone else, as in mindset of someone else, or it's in the pockets of someone else, right? Which means money, which means the money you are looking for is in someone else's pocket, or it is in possession of someone else. It could be that someone has the dream car you want, the dream property, or whatever it is, or the resources to help you get to where you need to be, right? So now the difference.
Alihle? Ayike lihle safuna ukuyivala difference usathi the difference phulaphula this is yes radio doing radio according to you ulihle noba kungena call ndasekhaya 17 minutes past 8 Central African time lihle sufonelwa ngelixesha sufonelwa all right usathi the
okay so as I was saying where was I now? Okay, so as I was saying, right? So everything you aspire to have in life is in possession of someone else. Somebody else has it. The difference between the person who accesses that and the person who cannot is in their ability to ask or sell their vision or their ideas to the other party, right? Now, if you will remember, I always said that there are 5 forms of leverage in property. It's other people's money, it's other people's mindset or mind power, it's other people's manpower, it's other people's marketing, it's other people's time. In other words, if you notice something, all these forms of leverage that are in property have little to do with yourself, but everything to do with other people, which means that your success in property or in business, by the way, is highly dependent on your ability to sell or communicate your ideas effectively, right? So this is what happens, right? So he deployed some people, and then now these people then take the time and they know almost everything about us, right? They take the time and they find out they work with real estate agents in South Africa. Now this is the thing, right? This is the thing that I like about these guys. It's the way they sell Dubai. Because the way they sell Dubai, they position it in such a way such that there is no other investment you can make. There's no better place that you'd rather invest in than in Dubai.
Okay.
And for me, now last year I was sold because I did not understand the whole thing, right? I was sold, but this year when I listened, it was a different year. And for some reason, I was like, nah, you guys are very smart. Right? It's like now I understand how you guys have got this far, right? So what they do is they when you invest in Dubai, the finances are invested to the government of Dubai.
Okay.
Now think about this. Right? So the finances are invested to the government of Dubai, right? So they've got developers who are registered and are monitored by the government, right? By government officials, right? Who check which projects are going ngendlela and all of that. Now, for me, which means in other words, it's not developers who raise the capital. It's the government who raises the capital. Right, and when after the government raises the capital, he's got regulations in place to make sure imali zabantu are not being stolen, There are phases of each development before. So in other words, developers don't get all the money. There are phases that in which this money is being issued to them. You need to complete ground level, and all of that. There's levels in which to this thing, right? So this guy was saying, your money, you pay your money and you buy an unfinished development. So you buying whilst they are still building or before they even start building. So in other words, you're buying off land. And then they sell the idea to you that, listen, you're buying 20 to 25% below market value, by the way. Sure. So by the time this thing is done, the value of this property has increased by 20 to 25% more of what you have paid. And we should be done in a year or two from now. Do you know, that's interesting, right? That's very interesting. Now, when we work on projects, we roughly pay an average of about 15% per annum. Now, when they say I could wait 2 years, that means I could be looking at, losing 10%, right? If I was investing on average. Now, when I say on average, I mean, that is now being an average investor who does not know anything about property.
Okay.
That's why we always say education is important, right? Because if you don't have the right education, your finances are going to be used to build other empires. Nothing wrong with that, right? Because as long as you are getting your returns, there's nothing wrong with it. You wanted returns, right? That's why, if you remember, we did we spoke some time ago about the 7 categories of investors, right? So the riskiest place to ever be as an investor is to be uneducated, right? That's why I always say to people, before you invest, educate yourself. Before you say you are investing in anything, educate yourself. Because if you can educate yourself, you then can make educated decisions. Because you understand, okay, so my money is going to be used to help. So now you don't cry and say, yo, imali zethu zaka, this and this and this. Because you did not believe the educational part is important. You just wanted to get money today, right? Now, this is another interesting thing that they use as a sales proposition, right? The safety of Dubai, right? Everybody knows how safe Dubai is, right? So they get into a bit of some details. Now, I wasn't really paying attention to that stuff. For me, I was just writing notes with it. These guys, this is what they are doing, right? So now this is how the business model goes. And the business model was so interesting to me because how developer, when you are developing to make money, right? Now, I remember speaking to an investor here in South Africa, and it's a very well-known guy, and I said to him, hey man, tell me something. When investing in a development, who really makes money? And he says, developers make money. It's not investors. Investors are not the ones making money. Developers make money. Now for me, I was like, wow, dude. So in essence, you are telling me that the investors, they make a decent amount of money, but the people who are really making money, it's the people who are pumping. I mean, it's the people who are coming with the vision. So for me, when I was listening to this guy, and I said to myself, okay, so the first source of income they are getting is because they are developers, right? Cool. Now, after they're done developing, you then rent out your property to them, right? So the property that you own is then rented out to them, right? So when you rent out this property to them, what then happens is they pay you 8% per annum. Now, this was very interesting when he said that. They pay you 8% per annum on your money, 8% interest on your purchase price per annum. And they pay this money in advance. Now, anybody who knows or understands property, the reason why you'd rather invest in property is because of cash flow, the monthly cash flow that property gives you, so that you can earn monthly rental income, right? Now, I always say to people, you really want to invest in property because when you are investing in property, there are possibilities that you can also work once like the banks and get paid for a lifetime. And basically, that's what these guys are promising you. listen, you're buying your property, it's your property. And now they're using another form of leverage that I actually learned, or maybe, let me say, figured out after studying this thing into depth, right? So it's other people's money, and then they're also using other people's property. Because you are not going to manage the property in Dubai. Who do you know actually to buy? You're investing from SA, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you can afford to go there, but you don't exactly. So these guys are like, listen, we've got the setup ready for you, right? So you buying the property, yes, you own the property. We pay you 8% return on your property, right? And this is the trick. We pay the 8% in advance, dude. Like, think about it, guys. Think about it. How confident will you be that you're gonna make money, right? That you're gonna give me in advance? I got 12 months. But you paying it to me in advance, 8%. And I was like, damn, I like you guys. You guys have a very strong vision such that you're not just looking at what you're looking at the cash flow. Now, this is the thing, right? Now, when I am running my project, I am the one who pays the management company 8% interest. Right? I'm the one who pays the money. And then now I earn infinite returns, right? Which means probably I'll be making 30 times, 60 times, maybe 100 times more than what I'm paying the rental agent. Now, in my mind, I was like, these guys are so smart. So they pay you 8% in advance, you keep quiet. They take the infinite returns. They take the infinite returns. Or let me make another example, right? Let me make another example. Maybe this one will make sense, right? So my first property deal was 2.1 million, right? Now, 15 units, 15 units, and I was putting 2 tenants per unit. Each tenant is paying me 3.5, which means 7,000 rand per unit. Now, 7,000, yes, 7,000 multiplied by 15 units gives me a rental income of 108,000 rand per month in this deal, right? Now, a bond on a 2.1 million rand property is 21,000 rand on average.
Yeah.
And then you pay the rental agent about 8% of the total income, right? So you're paying maybe roughly about 10,800 roughly. No, that's just below 10,800. Roughly about 8,000 rand, so something like that, right? But let's say 10,800 rand. Now think of it like this. A profit on this project, are you looking at around 40 to 60,000 rand per month? Now, in this case, if we're taking it, so I'm being paid the 8% that I would have paid the rental agent.
Rental agent in South Africa.
Exactly. And then they are making infinite returns from my money, from my property value. And basically what they're really doing is a rent-to-rent deal, right? Because what's a rent-to-rent deal? It's me renting your property. So it's me renting the property from you. I'm paying you monthly rental income, but I'm charging more for someone to stay there. Right. Right. So basically that's what these guys are doing. It's a rent-to-rent deal, right? Well, of course, to the investor who does not understand the game, they're not letting you know. But actually, says I best send the rent-to-rent on your property. They say to you, we will manage your property. You will get the tenants in there. Don't worry. We will do that. We will pay you 8%. But do people are excited about owning a property in Dubai, right? People are excited about the safety features. People are excited about the security in terms of your money. People are excited about the strict rules of government and this constant watch on everything, which means we're excited to is safe. We're excited that you are part of this very big vision.
And Dubai.
Right? Yes. And now this is my thing now. So you are investing a rand in building somebody else's country. Nothing wrong with that, right? And you're building somebody else's country. And that when you have to go to that country, you pay roughly about 10 times more to have an experience you would have paid 10 times less in your country. Now,
so
basically, yes, no, right? And again, as I said, there's nothing wrong, but I'm trying to say, listen to it. When I looked at that, I'm like there's nothing wrong with building somebody else's empire, right? Or somebody else's city, as long as you understand what you're doing. But my thing is, most of us as Africans take our hard-earned money and we don't invest in making our own Dubais in SA. We take our money and we invest in those cities. And then to have experiences that we would have had, that if we invest in our own country, we would have paid 10 times less. But we are paying 10 times more to have a same experience in your own country, right? Now, for me, that's interesting, right? Because my thing is, I believe that a lot of people do not understand that business is war, right? I'll explain to you what I mean when I say business is war, right? We are in this global game now, right? Which means your competition today is not really the guy selling on the streets. Your competition today is someone coming from Dubai and pitching an investor in SA. This is investing in the Ngoye Empire, which is in South Africa. Right? Now, I'm not one of those guys who are like, no, support black. No, I'm not up to that. Right? What I'm saying is that we're not building our country, right? We're building other people's country. Nothing wrong with that. Most important thing is having awareness about what you're doing, right? Awareness about what you're doing, right? And then when we build all these countries, we're advancing those countries, the future of those countries. Whilst at the same time we are forfeiting, maybe forfeiting is the wrong word, maybe ignoring that the very same products that are there are in SA, right? And can be used to create more jobs in South Africa, can be used to create more better services, to advance our communities, in different ways, right? So that's the most important thing. Now, this is another thing that, so that's the first business model, right? It's that they invest for infinite returns. Infinite returns. Come again? So that's the thing, right? I'll tell you why. But people are already doing it in South Africa. I'll explain what I mean by that, right? So this is what I mean, right? More often than not, people don't want to learn, right? If there's one thing that people hate in South Africa, or well, according to my knowledge, that's what it's education, right? Maybe let me not say they hate it, but let me not just say they're just lazy, maybe, right? Because for me, every single day I make an average of about 30 to 60 phone calls. When I speak about the educational side, some people get excited. When I speak about returns, investing with us, co-owning property with us, people want to co-own more than learning how they can build their own empire. So you're like, would you rather learn how to dig your own well, or would you just own a portion of a well that is already built? And South Africans don't want to learn how to build their own well, right? They get excited. Investment opportunities. They get excited. Education and how we can help them. But the minute you start talking about investment opportunities, I want to start paying bills today. That's the temptation. That's the sales proposition, right? The sales proposition is monthly income. What are people looking for? Monthly income. A little bit more money to sort out their bills and what. They're not really looking at learning the skills. You suffer for a short while, but over a period of time, you can earn. Like I was speaking with a very amazing lady Izolo last night. I can't disclose her name, right? So she was like, boy, I want you to, I'm looking for a property. I want to do a rent to buy deal. I'm this age that I am, and I want to do a rent to buy deal, right? And I said, moms, my man, there are two ways. Now for me, I'll tell you the brutal truth, right? I'm like, listen, moms, you can go to real estate agents in East London, right, and tell them what you're looking for, right? And tell them you can pay them a certain sourcing fee. What's a sourcing fee? It's like an introduction fee, right? So it's like I'm giving you a mission. Listen, Mamzo, I'm looking for a property in East London. I can qualify for 10,000 rand per month. I can pay 10,000 rand a month, right? No sweat, but I'm the funny rent to rent. So the property must be made between 900,000 and 1.2 million rand roughly, right? So I'm gonna rent this property. I've got maybe 40,000 rand to put as down payment, right, or as deposit. Then they rental a property for 5 years. On year 5, I pay the full remainder, right? And then, which means now I'm not going to buy it for 1.2. If I'm going to be returning 1.4 million because of the delay in buying, right? So that's just a bit of a rundown on the rent to buy, right? So I was saying to moms, listen, ma, there are two ways. You are either going to, so there's two ways I can help you with this, right? Now I was saying, so in this example, saying, moms, if you're saying to me you are looking for a property of 1 million rand, yeah, yes, but it's 5% commission. If 5%, not commission, but sourcing fee or introduction fee. So there's two ways you can do this, moms, right? That you can do this the hard way, which is just going around telling real estate agents this is what you want to do, right? You will struggle, I mean, because you don't understand property maybe, but you will struggle, but it could be worth your while, right? Or you're going to pay me to make a couple of phone calls. Now, I'm telling you the brutal truth, right? I'm like, ma, I'm going to spend less than 10 hours, and maybe within 2 months or 3 months, you will be having something. And I said, if it's 1 million rand, you have paid me 5%. In other words, if 50,000 yonke uzabuza sebenze less than 10 hours, there will not even be a need for me to fly to East London. Right? Said there will be no need for me to fly to East London. I've got people I know in East London. I can give them a phone call, tell them what you are looking for, ask them to start working on this thing, and then in this is I answer, I share the money. It does not even have to spend money on petrol. It's all just phone calls, me working with somebody else, also East London, who understands East London better than me. I answer you want to get done. Within 2 to 3 months, you'll be paying me 50,000 more than just being on Zoom meetings and phone calls, and I will have spent less than 10 hours. You'll have paid me 50,000. That's the first thing. That is the price you pay for negligence. Or second one is you rather pay Unboy to teach you the skills. Is 7.5. Now this is the funny thing. You rather pay Unboy 7.5. You've saved what? 40-something thousand, 42.5 thousand rand to learn this thing yourself. Now you've got a skill that you can teach to your daughter. You've got a skill of wealth creation that you can pass on to your kids. You can just not only buy what you can afford now, you can be able to have a skill to buy a lot of investment properties with or without money. And also you will not only buy the house you can afford, but the house of your dreams. Yeah. And also some chance to earn the income of your dreams if you learn these skills. Right? So I was like, moms, so take your time. Go and think about it. And I was like, that skills is more valuable. Right? And I was teaching her this thing that if you don't, in life, we get paid for what we know, we pay for what we don't know. And I was showing her the difference that if you want me to use my team, you will end up paying me 50,000 rand on top of you still having to pay. And I will not still only the property you can afford today. And that's just about it. Right. And when I shared this, I was trying to show her that having the skill is much more cheaper than doing this thing without the skill. paying somebody else to do it.
Okay.
That is one of the biggest mistakes that are happening in our country. It's that people want money, right? People want instant gratification. Now, I'm not talking about the person, right? Since you're talking just in general, right? People, that is what they want. Now, for me, I always say it is my duty to educate them. Dude, right? A lot of people will not wake you up even, right? They'll be like, 50,000 Rand, cool. That's nice. That's a good deal. Let's start working, right? And if I were to count all my overall expenses, I won't even spend 1,000 Rand to get that deal going. It's phone calls. It's just phone calls. I've got so many people in Basia, East London. Phone calls, and telling them what needs to be done in a Zoom meeting. They go and then come and give feedback. It's about 15 minutes per week of feedback, or maybe 30 minutes per week of feedback. I tell them what needs to be done. We sign contracts. So that's basically it, right? So that's where we are. People don't understand the importance of having skills, that it's skills that really pay the bills, right? It's not for money. That's why somebody like myself could make a post and say, I built all my companies without having money. I built all my business without having money. How? I invested in myself. And as people have a problem with this thing of investing in themselves. Now, this is the thing I always say when they start questioning it, right? And then I say this. Tai Lopez has a mentor. Tai Lopez is a multimillionaire as a mentor. Grant Cardone is a multimillionaire as a mentor. Donald Trump was mentored by George Ross, right? And you look at Oprah Winfrey was mentored by Maya Angelou. Kobe Bryant was mentored by Michael Jordan, right? You look at every single star that you find on the Forbes list. Will Smith was mentored by Muhammad Ali. So then the question then is, I'm not as intelligent as these guys. I'm not as smart in terms of business as these guys. Now, if they have a mentor, as intelligent as they are, as successful as they are, as smart as they are, I'm not as good as a businessman as these people are. And if they have mentors while being as successful as they are, I need a mentor 10 times more. If they are being successful as they are, as they've built global brands for themselves, names for themselves, right? Businesses, multi-millions of rands in terms of dollars worth of businesses for themselves. And I'm not as smart as them, and I'm not as good a business person as them, and I'm not winning the way they are, then I need the mentor 10 times more, or maybe a million times, right? So that's always my thing. So my thing is, maybe someone else doesn't feel that they have a mentor, but there are people nowadays, no, you don't need a mentor. Well, for me, when I study success, right, having a mentor helps you go through the process faster. Having a mentor is someone who holds you accountable. And for me, why should I figure it all on my own when there's someone who's done it? Why should I figure it all on my own? Yeah, when people are winning and doing all these things today. Yesterday, I was speaking with my mentor after from 8 o'clock, around about 20 past 8, up until quarter to 10 in the evening. And when I was listening to this guy, I was like, damn, there's so much that I'm still not doing right. There's so much that I'm still missing out on. There's so much that I could do so that I can be able to build Ngoyi Empire to become this $1 million brand that I wanted to be. And my mentor was teaching me the changes I need to make within the next 3 to 5 weeks to position my business in the way I should be positioning it for 2021. And he said, if you do this, Chief, you will go far. You will probably achieve. Yes, and he will say you will probably achieve what you need done, right? Within less than 5 years, if you do this. Now imagine this. If I were to try and figure it out on my own and paying everybody else to do things for me. There's nothing wrong with paying people, but the thing is, you need to learn the skills and understand your business, right? And that, for me, is the biggest reason why people, they just don't understand money, right? And they get punished for that. Are we winning?
Yeah, what minutes before 9 o'clock. This is King Ngoyi. He's based in Cape Town, a 24-year-old. Matric asithi abantu mabaphuma esikolweni bethu nani wazazi ngokwa-grade cele ebazalini mandicela uyeka because I want to build an empire and nyhani empire ukhangela apho akuxhobisa akunike zonke this is as he is wenza izinto and black as he is almost all over the country as my funa uchecksha kweli cala abaphulaphula bathini umazibonanti phangwa yes abantu banathi bapha yena emdla kodwa leso uthi wow I really like this about how and where to invest. Hlengiwe hlehle rather uthi Maniglos happy new year to you too sisi umzo yo dinkwera mbeki uthi lihle King is 100% mandibeke ngapha uzifundele 100% true yet ekhaya bekusa ke klanto yase Dubai kusithetha ngayo. Can you buy any chance mentor me?
Wow, yes. You can check out my website on litlekingoyi.com to schedule a meeting.
And lapha ngezantsi nayo ke ivele interested inbox me azi ngamlandela ku Lihle King Ngoyi. You can interact naye akunike nenamba mhlambi babhalele apha.
Yes.
I must warn you though kuyasetyenzwa kuyabalekwa akalali nje ngobusitsho pin kufuneka ube kanti ukhe wayisebenza qala wena so ukuba kanti usancedisa abantu ayundi ngasendithini but awuwazi umsebenzi owenziwayo behind the scenes ngapha kwedesk eyonampithizelo eyenzekayo kodwa ke ndengamandla kukuba ube willing ukuba mawube uzawungena apha ufunde ngalo lonke ixesha ulihle akanayo ne-TV ke bethu nani so awubukeli i-TV awuthini njengoba uye wathini last night because uphume kwenye meeting ebenayo iZoom meeting ongena kwenye so enye umuntu onjalo wena so umuntu ke ngoku othi Lihle ndiyafuna akathini nakuThibhuzi uthi ndikhona nami ndiseKapa enyanga ezwelitsha network yam qha ingxaki kum andiyazi nami nayo into efuna uyishishizisa umuntu enze njani Lihle before ixesha lesishiya umuntu ndingulwe nami bendingayazi intalento qashiwe ndiyaphangela ndinomvuzo ndinayo i-5 that I can spare monthly.
Awesome. So what I always say to people is first educate yourself on the possibilities that are there for you, right? Every week we do a free event for everybody else to come and just listen what is happening in property, right? On YouTube, we have a YouTube channel where people can learn, right? We've got some free content. We posted there about property, some educational stuff for people to learn. As in most of them come from the interviews we do here on radio, right? So now so we post them on the YouTube channel. On my website, Lihle King Ngoyi as well. We've got some videos and some podcasts that I did. There's one about with Property Magicians podcast. where I was Kristen, there's a lot of essays, Property Magicians by Wealthy Money podcast. So you can go there and listen and educate yourself. That's the first thing I always say to people, educate yourself, right? And then when you feel that this is what I want to do, there's a difference between being interested in property and, being committed, right? I always say I want to work with committed, not umtu or interested, right? Because you're going to give up halfway because you were just interested. By chance, you saw me. It's not that you really were into property, right? So I want people who are committed, who understand possibilities, as you call you, and are willing to pay the price for success. There's a price to pay. And I'm not just talking about paying me to mentor you. I'm talking about physical labor, time you have to invest in your vision, right? There's just lastly, Robert Kiyosaki always said, when I had no time, I invested time. When I had no money, I invested money, right? So not having is proof that you are not investing it, right? So that's what you're going to need, right? I need 100% commitment from you, right? Not just monetary. So first, educate yourself. You've got educational content that's out there. When you feel this is what you want to do, you can schedule a phone call with me on my website, and then I'll call you. So, yeah.
And committed because ungahlunqapha endleleni and sonke siyayifuna inkqubo ingasendingene wethu abantu awayazi babenza njani na banee-properties kanti ba-committed and as ulihle esitsho not only imali oyifakayo but your time nje attending ii-meetings ngoku zenziwa virtually ixesha elininzi, so having enough data for uconnecte kwezo Zoom meetings and learn njengoba abantu behleli nje njengoba uku-lockdown njengoba utheni na wena ulelanga so ungekho Mozambique 21 uyibona nini ngo-2075 nango-2095 nango-31 ikhona iphaya ihleli so because kaloku sibone ezinto uqoba le property ka-1802 iselapha isenala mizobo i-1010 asimazi nabantu abakhoyo ngoku balaa bakwa-Van Wyk amazi nokhulu zezinto ezidena kufuneka sizazi uba nathi singazenza, but we must be willing to work, must be willing to invest ephupheni lakho ephupha lakho ndifuna ukwenza le nto, be willing to uthini when you don't have money you have money, when you don't have when you
don't have money you need to invest money. When you don't have time, you need to invest time. Those are evidences. Whatever you lack is evidence that you are not investing it enough. Now, Omne will say, but I don't have money to buy a property. That's what I mean. No, the thing is, the money you are earning is a seed. Use it to invest in your mind. Don't use it to buy a property now, right?
So the little that we have ngoku elintshontshwana esisichenene sale salayo oyityala ikhozo lombona kuzawuphuma isikhwebu ingazophuma just izikhwebu izikhwebu xa seluntshulile. So the little that you have you can buy. Ulihle ibali lakhe bekwalibalisa apha owning a property engenayo ephuma phaa esikolweni ne, so ukwazi uthenga iproperty ungenamali but usebenze uyovasa imoto ubuye uthathe laa mali ukhwele uattend seminar ufumane zonke ezingcebiso. So for more information contact ulihle ke kwezi nkcukacha sele sizikhuphile phelile ihambelana ngexesha lakho umane usiphalona ngesiradio. So ulihle yamfumana ke ngesiradio every Tuesday, yamfumana kwewebsite yakhe meeting akwenzela one-on-one naw akucacisela uba ungayenza njani le nto, ubeke phantsi yonke into uthi nantsi mna andinayo neyobethinja naye naleyo nika ikhagadi kodwa ndiyafuna ungena business dise property andithethi nje ndithetha ngeproperty. Thank you lihle.
Yes.
Siyabulela.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma.
Right, ngulihle lowo uba nathi ehamba nayo Nels kaDiniso xa iphuma kuzongena kuzongena ke waShathula uMangxuma Kajane ehamba naye iJwarha Elikhulu. Love you. Catch me tomorrow, same time, same website, www.kithngeziradio.com between 6 and 9. Pepsi Radio, Pepsi Wile. So I will always love you. Good morning.